Hello everyone, it's Dr. Wolfe here, and in this video I'm going to be giving you feedback on the review question, are humans evolving via natural selection to be taller? All right? And what we're going to do is we're going to look at both arguments. So let's say you made the claim, no, humans are not evolving via natural selection to be taller. All right, what would your evidence be? Well, if we look at the graph, human height stays steady over about almost a millennium, and then around 1850-ish, boom, it increases. All right? So we definitely have variation. Going on to the reason, we definitely have variation in our population, right? You have some people that are shorter, medium, taller. It fits that bell curve in some way. All right, so there's always going to be variation. However, what's the selective pressure, right? Because are taller people surviving more than shorter people? No, I mean, shorter people are still surviving to the age where they could reproduce. So it doesn't seem like there would be a selective pressure where some people would be dying and not passing on their genes, and some people would be surviving and passing on their genes. And so if that's the case, then it seems like everyone's surviving, everyone's reproducing, then we shouldn't really see a change in human height. So that would be our claim evidence reasoning for that claim, all right? And that sounds pretty good, but let's also look at the other side. Yes, humans are evolving via natural selection. Look at, there's this huge change, this huge increase in human height, and the variation is short, medium, tall. What's the selective pressure, though? Well, you may have said that, well, it's not about surviving. It's actually more about reproduction. So, for instance, a peacock, right, has these bright feathers. Why would a male, not a female, but only a male peacock have those bright feathers? And it's to attract a mate, right? Because otherwise, that is just like a target that says, like, tiger, please eat me, right? It's not the best camouflage, but it helps them find mates and then reproduce, pass their genes on to the next generation. So then the question is, well, is that happening with humans? Well, if we actually look at psychological literature, the studies on that, there actually seems to be, at least for initial impressions, a preference for taller people, all right, amongst humans. All right, so then, okay, so it seems like there could be a selective pressure in that case, this preference for tallness, but is it actually what's causing it? All right. And I'll say this, is even though that there's kind of this little preference maybe for taller individuals on first impressions, there's so many other factors that come into play, and, a range of heights, all right, end up finding, a partner to reproduce, have a family and kids of their own. So even though we might have a selective pressure there, it doesn't actually seem to be something that would cause this. So then, which one's correct? The correct answer would be no, humans are not evolving. But this is where I like these types of explanations. If you said yes and you use that example of sexual selection in terms of preference for reproduction, awesome, that would be a 3. Nice work, right? And so scientists, you could have a scientist that makes the wrong argument, right, in the scientific field, right, in terms of the wrong claim, but if their reasoning and their evidence, right, they could still be earning a meets a 3 on that, right? We just have to gather more evidence. We just have to talk with more people. All right? So it ends up being that humans are not evolving via natural selection to be taller. All right? And like I said, the evidence is that, yes, we see this increase in height. There's variation in the population with the range of human height. However, there's no selective pressure in modern-day society that causes taller people to survive more than shorter people before reproducing. So therefore, no small or tall gene should have an advantage of being passed down over another, meaning evolution by natural selection is not occurring. All right, so you might be like, well, Dr. Wolfe, didn't you say, well, first of all, like the population's changing, human height's increasing. What else explains that, right? And the human population absolutely is increasing. But this is what explains it. Although humans aren't evolving via natural selection to be taller, what explains the sudden increase in human height? The sudden increase in human height occurs around 1850. That's around the time of the Industrial Revolution, where there was a large advancement in food production and access. So humans aren't passing down taller genes. Instead, they just have access to more calories to grow taller. So what we could do is we could predict that if humans were in a situation maybe during like a famine, or maybe where they weren't having as much access to food when they were growing up, that we would expect them on average to go back to that same height. To tell you the truth, I'm not sure what the literature is on that, the scientific literature or not, but that would be a prediction that I would make that would support the theory that this isn't via natural selection. Another argument for this increase is happening so fast, and evolution can happen relatively fast, but this is really, really fast, and it doesn't seem like this would be happening via natural selection. So thanks for watching, everyone.